don't have internet.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special Only Friends podcast. Today, we turned 50.
What?
Wow.
We did it. We reached the halfway point. This is our 50th episode, shit.
So appropriate.
50th fucking episode.
If we did one per week, we'd be at a year.
Yeah, except
Year's worth of episodes. Just
we
about.
don't do one per week.
That's very true.
We're out here in the grind. And in honor of reaching our half centennial, is that how it works? Bicentennial is 2. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are we here? Anyway, in honor of reaching our midlife crisis, today we are going to talk about all things Underworld.
Introduce us properly, Berkey.
I don't have a good Darkside intro, man. I don't have a good. I tried to come up with. I'm so light side.
No, you're not.
I'm so Luke Skywalker in this analogy.
Let's have a truce, Berkey.
I don't know what you're doing.
Truce us.
I don't know what's happening. You can just pretend to shake my hand. It looks like it in the camera anyway.
Well, we're happy to be here.
I'm not.
I represent them.
I'm not happy to be here.
I always speak for the people. I'm the devil's advocate.
You're just the devil.
All right. Well,
The people you speak for, no one wants to fucking hear from.
yo, my man literally had nobody in his photo. That shit was fucked up.
That was funny.
That shit was fucked up.
That was funny.
He could have at least hired some props.
There's another good photo of him just sitting alone at the table. It's so funny, like the way we manipulate a narrative through imagery. I'm sure that this was just like something where, I mean, for the most part, I played my day 2 in that portion of Bally's or whatever.
Yeah.
And the room was just largely empty. There wasn't anybody over there because the 3K was not spilling over into Bally's.
So you think there was just a bunch of people that just like
I don't think anyone was there at all.
Wanted to be in the photo, but
No. Don't get me wrong. Like, he has no friends. That's clear. but I guess like what I'm saying is that that photo of him sitting alone at the table, if he were the hero we deserved, could be romanticized into like similar to when Big Ben was sitting alone on the bench after his last game, kind of weeping type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could easily be spun into this romantic shot of a young unknown player winning his first bracelet. Is it even his first? I don't know. I don't care either. But instead, you know, we're Darkside now, so it now becomes a figure creeping out of the shadows.
one for the dark side already.
On his lonesome. I'm not happy to be here, man. I got fucked. I got absolutely horse fucked yesterday. I show up, I'm top 10 in chips, and then I have one big blind.
That's miserable.
You got kings?
Yeah, bro. I had kings twice yesterday. I exited both tournaments on them. I had aces once. I exited the tournament on that. I actually didn't exit the 6 max on kings. I left myself with 8/10 of a big blind going into the small blind. So what ended up happening was I lost a few pots, went from like 75 blinds down to like, I don't know, 62, something along those lines. And button opens somewhat large, but we're deep, so it's fine. Opens 2.5. I 3-bet the kings to 9.
Yeah.
He 4-bets to a very awkward size. It was like 25.5. I was just like, oh, look, I found queens. And I slam her home. And he beats me in. Well, actually, you know what really happened?
What?
He didn't beat me in.
Oh no.
This is when you know this is how you know you're horse fucked. You smash it home with kings, and right as you're about to put a smile on your face, he gives the look back.
Oh,
God damn
sure it's
it.
not ace 4. God damn.
God damn it. And to be fair, like, he chose such an awkward sizing. I did only expect to I like fully expected that almost always he was going to snap fold. But, you know, that snap fold is just going to contain an ace a lot. So this makes a lot of sense to just shove. Instead, I got the look back, and my heart just goes, we're out.
I wish the Darkside people did the interviews.
Why?
Because at least they're not scared. Like, yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Yeah, but like, what do you ask them? What do they say?
That's not my job to ask them. Fucking do, I don't know, stand up for me, please. Like, do that.
Yeah, but like, I don't think they ever incriminate themselves. Like the exact
but at
opposite,
least
man.
talk.
No, they're super silent. What do you mean? They just don't say a word for months and then say they're going to donate half their winnings to St. Jude. what are we talking about here, man?
Yo, but the guy that won yesterday, now he ain't donating shit.
No, he's not. I think he's sharper between the two. He's just leaning in. Like, fuck it. I made all my money one way. I'm not embarrassed by it in any way, shape, or form. They're going to continue to let me play. So I'm going to unapologetically show up to these high buy-ins, win fucking money until you guys kick me out of here.
True.
They're not gonna kick him out. That's clear.
Is it clear?
What do you think the vibe is? You haven't got to play with them, right?
Nah, Ali busted me for the fucking 25K.
But what's the vibe? Tell us the vibe.
Bro, he's a ghost. He's sitting there as small as possible in his chair with his headphones on, making eye contact with no one but the dealer.
Wow.
Like, but the thing is it doesn't strike me as him being embarrassed. Like, I don't think that he is.
But Snake doesn't strike me as that person. Like, he grills people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Snake is less pussy than the other one.
I don't know, man. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, they're really good fucking poker players.
They're the best.
Right. So it's like, I think for them, it's just business as usual. Like, I don't think they give a fuck. I mean, maybe to some degree they care about what their public image is. But in a general sense, like when it comes to showing up to work, making your EV, I don't think they give a fuck. Like, not one bit of it. And to double down on that, I think that the community as a whole probably isn't pressing them in general, but definitely not Jake. Because Jake's not playing smaller buy-ins. Right. So like Ali got hammered in the 08, whatever it was, with Deeb and a couple others at the table, where they were literally openly talking about him while he was at the table.
That's awesome.
And he just like had headphones on and just drowned it out. Or maybe he listened to the whole thing. Who knows? Right. But like he's putting himself into a more hostile environment.
Lines down a little bit.
Yeah. Where it's like Jake's just playing 25Ks and 50Ks. And as much as I'm sure his peers and opponents loathe everything about what he's done, I'm sure a lot of their closets aren't clean. And I also just know a lot of them to be overly respectful.
Yeah.
Like, could you ever imagine Chewy like mean mugging Jake?
Right, you have a lot of people like Dylan Lynn, like these guys, they're like nice guys, you know, like
yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, just like look at the final table yesterday. It was Peters, Chewy, Shannon Shore. Like, these guys are really nice guys.
Yeah, but Shannon Shore might slap a dude. I kind of feel that. I have that vibe from him. Like, I feel like he got into a baseball fight one time in Alabama. Like some dude tried to like hit his friend, you know, at the batter's box, and he just came and just clocked the dude one time. Just one time, Shannon. Like, that's all we need.
That happened. I mean, I don't know if it happened to Shannon, but that happens a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Shannon strikes me as a dude like, if you hit my pitcher in the box, dude, like we're gonna fight. Like, you know, he was part of National League. So.
I have two stories of this happening. So my senior year in high school, we were playing our rival and we blew them out.
Yeah.
On their field, we 10-run them and made them walk off. And afterwards, the press was interviewing myself and my best friend Gumby, and one of their scrubs, like bench riders, was cleaning up the field and like picking up the bases and stuff like that. And he's just running his mouth the whole time through the interview. We don't care. Like, we mop them.
Right.
But our scrubs are like,
they're trying
to defend.
Yeah.
They're puffing their chest a little bit, you know? They're like, don't talk to my mans like that.
Yeah.
So they start barking back and forth. And the next thing we know, we have our back to the field, and one of them like starts to rush. We had a catcher. who was like, he was the center for our basketball team also. He was like
Damn.
6'8", 6'9", lanky ass white dude, like 190 pounds. But he was the type of kid that scrapped.
Yeah.
Like he grew up fighting, you know? And I guess like when I didn't really see it unfold until it happened, right? But like this kid was like coming at us and he just comes out of the dugout and just like throws a full-blown haymaker.
Those hurt, dude.
And just buries this kid. Next thing we know, like
The bench is clear. Yeah.
well, they were like, we're no benches because we're all
Game's
meandering,
over.
right? But the next thing you know, it looks like a cartoon where like, you know, that like scuffle comes together and just a dust pile comes up. So they
That's
broke.
sick.
So we get into this fight, which was barely a fight, but there were definitely punches thrown. Like people, there were a couple kids who like got fucked up. Like the catcher ended up with a knot on his head.
Yeah, knots, yeah.
But you know, we like scurried off to the bus or whatever. And I remember getting on the bus and our coach gets on and we just obviously thought he was going to be pissed, but he saw the whole thing unfold and he was this big fat dude. He used to be a catcher himself. Like he actually had a shot at the show or whatever. And he gets on and he had this gruffy voice. He goes, "Boys, that's how you take care of business on and off the field."
Yo, why are catchers so gangster? Like catchers are always like the one that want
They're
them.
they're the leaders, man.
They
Like,
want the fucking action, bro.
they're the guys in the
fight ball.
Well, it's not even that. They're the general. You know what I mean? Like they're calling the game. They're controlling everything, but they're also offensively usually the least important person on the team.
Yeah.
So it's like they're that gritty, grimy.
Yeah.
They're the equivalent of a lineman in football. You know, you have to just show a ton of respect to the guy who's getting out there and having his body beat up every single day, but offering nothing to you
Yeah.
offensively.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
You think Mike Piazza was good?
oh yeah, he's one of the best ever. But like he wasn't a natural catcher. Like he belonged.
He belonged in like
He was
first base.
athletic. He could have played almost any position.
Yeah, yeah.
He played first
I
base
shouldn't
for
say
a
that,
while,
but-
I think.
What's that?
I think he played first
He
base.
did.
for
I
a
think
while.
they moved him there.
That happens all the time when catchers start to age out, but they can still hit.
Yeah.
They just move them from behind the plate to first base or what.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you have an arm wrestling match on the break for 3?
I did. I broke even. I got wrecked right-handed, which I told him I would.
Wait, who's this? Who are you arm wrestling?
Rampage's friend.
Oh, okay.
It's very weird. We've had plenty of conversations, and I don't actually know his name. But yeah, he asked me to arm wrestle my break, and I go, no. I'm old and fragile. And he goes, "You'll kill me." And I'm like, "I promise you I won't. And I'm left-handed." And he's like, "Well, I think you'll beat me both, but let's start right." I was like, "Okay, fine." And he mopped me right-handed. As soon as we locked, I could feel like the tension in my right elbow. I've like bursitis in both my elbows just from like playing overhand sports and well, even just like lifting weights.
Yeah.
So I could just immediately like feel the tension.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm fucked. I have weak wrists to begin with. Like you win. Like we lock up and I go, I'm fucked. He goes, you are. I'm like, yeah, like I'm not gonna win this. And then we go lefty, and I gave him extra leverage. Like we did it on a poker table, and he had his elbow on the rail, and I had my elbow on the thing. And as soon as we locked, I was like, "Oh, you're fucked." But not because I'm strong. He's just obviously very weak left-handed. The second time that we got into a baseball fight, this one was actually more scary to me. I was in an adult league during summer when I was 19, so I'm playing with a bunch of like 28 plus.
Yeah.
Year old guys. The ages varied. There were a few 24, 25 year olds, but like I was the only one still in college for sure in the entire league. And again, we were playing our rival, and there were guys on this team that like had played in the show. These guys are like 38, but they had MLB experience. Well, I struck one of them out, and they were just like fucking chirping. And my shortstop, this is actually kind of funny. So my shortstop played college ball where I played college ball also, but 10 years prior. So like he's just, from a 19-year-old's perspective, he's just a fucking old ass man, right? But he had like set a few speed records for the team, like stolen bases, stuff like that. And man, he just has a fucking mouth about him, right? So he's just running it. Well, the next guy gets up. There's a runner at first. and I give up a single to him to the right side. And as the runner is rounding second base, my shortstop says something to him, and he just stops and swings.
Oh,
I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And I'm like on the mound watching all this happen, and the on deck batter is like, or the next hitter, I guess, is like in the box. And as I turn around, I see him just coming
with the bat.
I'm like, oh no! Like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't have grown man strength yet. Like, we're about to do this. So I like drop my glove. But again, catchers are the unsung heroes.
They'll catch him.
This fucking guy in full equipment just comes like from the first base line, because like when you give up a single that way, they go to back up the first baseman. Yeah. He comes from the first base line like a dart. I mean, he is a missile on a fucking mission, and he intercepts this guy. By the way, this guy was a big man, like 240, 250, easy. He intercepts him and spear tackles him like a safety who had nothing else on his mind but to separate this man from the ball. Just buries him into the fucking ground. So now all of a sudden, there's like 20 people engaged in a full-blown fist fight while I'm just standing there. I'm literally just like looking around, watching this melee happen.
Yo, you pussy, dog.
I didn't even know what to do. I literally had no idea how to get involved in this.
Go help the shortstop.
No, he had his own thing going on. So it was him and his brother, and they had grown up in the town that we were playing in. So like there was like some deep-seated fucking hatred and rivalry shit going on there. There was like all this underlying stuff that I knew nothing about. I was just like in the middle of it. I'm just like, okay. I didn't realize this actually happened in baseball.
Yo, but who wants to fight the catcher, bro? This guy's like straight up masked up.
Yeah.
You ain't winning that, bro. Like, it's like unfair.
No one ever wants to fight the catcher.
You ever hit somebody on purpose with the ball?
Yeah. Not very, very, very rarely. To the point where like there's 2 times in my career where I was told to hit somebody on purpose and I threw behind them on purpose.
Oh, wow.
Cause like I think it's a cowardly thing to do.
When you throw behind them, it's always a fight though. Right?
Yeah. It's a message for sure. But like first of all, I work the inner half of the plate a lot. Like I live there. I didn't throw that hard, and the easiest way to appear like you're a harder throwing player is if you're able to jam if you're really able to like work the inner half.
Yeah.
And I lived there. I lived on the inner half. So the last thing I wanted to do, because I'm gonna hit guys anyway, right? Like there's only a small margin of error. The last thing I want to do is get into a beanball war where it's like I start purposefully doing this, right? But secondly, it's super cowardly. Like if a batter ever charged me with a fucking aluminum bat,
that's crazy.
I'm gonna call the police. like that's a goddamn weapon. You know, so it's like
he's after me.
Berkey's literally not Darkside. He's like I'm gonna call the police, bro.
I'm just saying, man. That's a goddamn aluminum bat. That's what I got next to my bed in case somebody breaks into my fucking house.
I was the asshole on the opposite side of this thing.
God,
I used to play like indoor soccer, so we were basically in a hockey rink and with grass turf on the floor. And I was probably like 14, 15, and we just got our fucking asses whooped. And there was this one kid that was really good, and he scored a couple goals, and we were talking shit. At the end of the game, as soon as the buzzer goes off, I checked him so fucking hard into the boards that I actually felt bad afterwards. And just started out a full brawl.
But like that's a part of the game to some degree, even if it's non-contact. Like light checking happens, and if you add an extra hit, like whatever. And I guess you could say that like throwing at hitters is kind of a part of the game, but it's just
it's fucked up. Right?
It just shouldn't be. Like it's such an 80s mentality. It's like I'm asking you to stand in there and trust that I'm going to throw the ball somewhere within the plate region, and we're going to have this like fair battle about us of either you can hit me or you can't, right?
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, like, I'm just mad, so fuck you. Wear an 83-mile-an-hour fastball in the ass. But, like, if you hit somebody, so there are rules to this, right? Like, I wish I would have known this came up. This happened to Kutch, Andrew McCutcheon, who used to play for the Pirates. This happened to him recently on the Phillies, where I think, or sorry, he's on the Brewers now. So I think it was the Brewers versus Cubs, maybe, or maybe Marlins. I can't remember. But anyway, something had happened where the beanball war had started, basically. So somebody got thrown at, the other team retaliated, and now Kutch came up as an old veteran, knowing full and well that he was going to wear one. That's the other thing, too. It's like the only thing that makes it okay to throw at hitters is like situations where they are 100% certain that they're getting thrown at. And now there's this like code of conduct that you operate under. And the code of conduct is like you aim for their ass, right? Like you hit them in a soft spot where it's not really going to bother them.
You don't go for their head.
No, yeah. Like you aim for the ass, you aim for like the middle of their back, like areas that they can handle it. You don't go for ribs, you don't go for wrists, you don't go for head, things like that. So this pitcher, and I can relate, man. My best guess is like he just didn't want to hit him. So he throws in on the first pitch and actually throws a strike, I think. And then he comes in further. And Kutch is like kind of like jawing at him like, just fucking do it already. So it ends up taking like 5 attempts. And I think he actually had him in like a 2-2 count or something odd where it's like it's not clear if they're actually doing this or not. And then he finally hits him. And Kutch reacts in a way where he's just like calling him a pussy basically for taking so long. But yeah, I was never the guy. Like twice I was told to hit a guy and I didn't. I just threw behind him. But we had this kid on my team who is 2 years younger than me, one class below me because I redshirted a year. And he came in and he was just full of piss and vinegar. His brother was the catcher. He was like this star pitcher coming out of McDowell High School in Erie, PA. And he just, his freshman year, like he just wanted to announce to the league that like he couldn't be trifled with. And he just fucking hit everybody. Like for no reason. Like he'd just start a game off by like plugging their number one guy. And it's like, what do you do? And then it got to a point where like he would headhunt. And we had to like sit him down because we're constantly getting into fights on his behalf. And it's like, bro, one of these days we're just going to let him come after you because like you fucking deserve it. Like you're such a prick.
Great.
That's what we need to do to the snake.
Baseball got Darkside too.
Yeah, that's just mad dark. I sent you a clip the other day. They all cheating.
Yeah, they are.
Fucking pitchers
Every
are,
single team.
They dirty, bro. Them pitchers are dirty as fuck.
Baseball, yeah. Baseball and poker have a lot of similarities. Because the thing is that like as we know more, as technology advances more, and as we understand the game more, there are just finer ways to cheat.
Bro, they talking about they're hiring scientists, bro. The teams are hiring scientists to create the new fucking shit. What's that shit called?
The gook.
There's a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
For
Sticky.
it, but, yeah.
The sticky, the new sticky, bro. They got the new sticky on.
Yeah.
First they were injecting shit in their ass, and now they got scientists
Not
doing
first. They're still doing that shit.
Banging trash cans and shit.
The science is just getting better with things like HGH
Anyway,
and stuff like
let's
that.
get back
But
to
yeah,
a little-
but I mean, like the same thing's happening in poker.
Yeah.
How on earth are we not hiring data analysts? Right? It's like we're just arrogant. That's all.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. We judge the NFL all the time where it's like, oh, they're not choosing the highest EV decisions, yada yada. How do they not have a guy on staff? Well, it's like, how the fuck do we not have guys on staff?
Yeah.
There are billions of hands floating around the internet.
We could get Haralabob to do it.
Yeah.
Haralabob, please clean up this cheating, bro.
I wonder if that is some sort of path to redemption for online. Like, there's a lot of mass data analysis taking place, right? So all these hands can be purchased anyway. What's stopping GG, for instance, from just purchasing all of Star's NL 500 hands?
That's interesting.
And then like running them through a database, looking for inconsistencies, and then trying to utilize that to compare to their own.
It's good. That's a good point. I don't know.
I don't know how much of this stuff is taking place, but it just seems like the more data that
I would love to have
accrues-
one of these like GG Stars parties security guys just like talk to us.
they just never will.
I know they never will, but like maybe they retire and they talk to us.
Yeah, that's fair.
One of them guys have to.
I
retire.
met a guy who I bumped into him at Bally's. He said that he used to work for GG Security, but I don't think he'll talk on the record about anything.
We'll take off record.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll take allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly speaking.
All right, let's get to some shits.
All right. So a few things went down yesterday. First was a little light side.
Somebody stole something.
No, let's show the good faith actors out there.
No, they stole it and then I gave it back.
That's not what happened. Alex Livingston had his bracelet ceremony yesterday, and shortly thereafter, being a little bit absent-minded, as we all are from time to time, he went to get coffee and just fucking forgot his bracelet.
He went to Nobu.
Oh, did he?
No, I don't know.
He went to get coffee.
No, yeah, he went to a coffee
WSOP
shop.
Cafe, I think.
Yeah, so he went, had himself a little brew, just happened to watch. You know what? I understand. I've been there.
Yeah, you been there?
Well, no. Not with the bracelet.
He's got his bracelet in Arizona.
Not with the bracelet.
You might have left your whoop somewhere.
No, you know what I leave everywhere is my ID. My ID, my credit card, that shit.
That's worse.
I know. That's what I'm
a
saying.
good identity theft.
I'm probably on like
They
debit
sold
card
that
number
shit to
15.
some fucking Nigerians, bro.
I wouldn't be shocked. But a good Samaritan turned it into security, or security found it on their own, one way or the other. Anyway, he was able to recover the bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
A good feel-good story on this Darkside Thursday.
Let's give it up for the guy that returned it.
Yeah, whoever that guy may be.
Very nice of you. Very
Christian's
nice.
not impressed.
Not Darkside.
Christian would have kept it.
No, I wouldn't have kept it. I
That
definitely
should've-
wouldn't have kept
He
it.
would have kept it.
I wouldn't have kept it. Maybe I would have kept it if we get on a final table. Like, I would have been like, I got something. Nah, I would have given it back. He's super nice guy, a great player too.
Yeah, he deserved the bracelet for sure. I'm happy to see. Is that that's not his first? I don't
I think
think.
it's his first. Definitely his first.
Is
I
it?
think it's his
Yeah,
first. He's
definitely
just
his first.
what
I
he's
thought he
just
plays
got.
mix.
Yeah,
He
but
does.
no, a lot of his final tables are from No Limit stuff.
Okay,
So
I know the main, obviously.
yeah. The main, but then also the Wynn 10 mil,
Yeah.
right? And then now this. So good for him, like finally getting like a nice W.
Yeah. What's that like, man?
It's elusive, man. It's elusive.
Seems to be. Young
Elusive.
Landon's going for one today. He bagged 70 bigs.
It's not gonna matter, man. It's not gonna matter until the Dans release the curse. It's not gonna matter. The Dans have to allow it.
I have faith. I think.
Yeah, you have faith, but
I think the 3K No Limit will be Landon Tice's first live WSOP main or WSOP final table. He doesn't have to win the first one. That's fine.
you think he's in a final table? How many people left?
I don't know.
You want?
I don't care.
You want to bet?
Yeah, lay me odds.
I don't want to bet against the land, obviously.
Lay me a price. I'm in there.
Yeah, well, however,
I don't know, man. The field was really fucking good. He's got to be a favorite in the field.
he's a favorite in all field.
Sure.
Maybe not the 25K though. Don't tell him I said that.
What about heads up?
I'm fucking with him.
But yeah, I mean, like, he's got a lot of chips on a day too.
No, good for him.
If he stops running into aces, he'll be in good shape.
Stops calling with Ace Queen High. But anyway.
Now you got to sometimes though.
Yeah. He just does it. You know when you said sometimes, he just does it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
He's
get
like, I
it.
blocked the deuce. I'm like, the deuce? That's the one you're trying to block, the deuce? Yeah, nice. He had aces. But no,
Aces
good,
are nothing, man.
good for Alex. I'm glad he won that one.
All right, now that we got the feel good moments out of the way, let's get to some dark side shit. So an anonymous player, unknown to the poker community, very strange. It happens these days in age. I thought everybody was pretty famous at this point,
Happening
but
a lot. It's absolutely crazy.
shadow creature, if you will,
Wow, shadow
Just-
creature.
creeps out of the darkness after finishing second in the what was it in?
25K?
Was it the 25K?
Or was it 100K?
No, I think it was 25. I think you're right. It was 25K that you got second, right?
Ooh.
The dark cast.
The
Yeah,
snake.
yeah. He got second. Or
Yeah.
he got second.
So second in the 25K, wins the 50K outright. Nice 7-figure uptick. This is what I was worried about, man. This is why I said we have to be diligent in and proactive in pushing these guys out. He's fucking rich.
He's very rich.
He's
Yeah,
fucking
he's
rich.
won 2.1 million in the past week.
Yeah. That sucks.
That's fucking bullshit.
That fucking sucks. Right?
2.1
Yeah,
million.
that sucks.
We never seen that shit again, though.
No, of course not.
Right.
Like,
2.2 actually.
here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying this from a standpoint of like I'm envious.
I'm a little envious.
Yeah, of course. Like, I would love to be able to compete for that sort of prize pool on the regular, and I don't think that like I have anywhere near his edge in those fields, if I even have an edge at all. But that's not my bigger point. My bigger point is that when we have pretty concrete knowledge that this skill set, his bankroll, his ability to finance, all of that stuff was done by taking advantage of the community through unscrupulous edges. Allowing it to further continue is allowing it to not just fester, but kind of feed.
It's encouraged.
Well, it is encouraged. It's definitely encouraged because like there's no penance and the rewards are insane.
Yeah, you get to play high rollers and you get to win 2.2 million in a week.
Right. Yeah, that part it's definitely bad messaging from that standpoint because like you're right, it's heavily incentivized. Like I'll take those guys in those fields over people not cheating all fucking day.
Of course.
It's not because they're cheating in the live realm. We know that they're probably not, or they're almost certainly not, with the exception of rubbernecking. But the skills that they've polished through years of utilizing RTA have really put them in a position to have a pretty big edge over a lot of fields. Whether it's a huge edge in the high rollers or not is debatable, but like they definitely have edge, right? What I'm saying, even to further that, is when we allow them to continue to earn, and in large chunks like this, not only does it incentivize future waves to crop up and mimic this behavior, but it gives them more resources to find better ways to skin this cat moving forward, right? So we're just effectively allowing them to shear the sheep over and over and over again, rather than just accepting that they skinned it once and now moving on, right? I don't understand. I mean, I guess I do understand because for the powers that be, it doesn't affect them directly, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about the head of WSOP, the head of Poker Go, whatever the case may be, it doesn't directly impact their pockets because they're not competitors in the field.
Yeah,
they're not the ones sacrificing the EV for the darker side of things, right?
Isn't there a marketing problem though?
Well, do we want to have that topic again? Like, yeah, of course, there's a fucking marketing problem.
All right. Yeah,
everything's marketed poorly in this industry.
I mean, it sucks because I don't know. Like, it just felt weird watching it last night. It was just kind of.
It sucks that so like this is shitty from so many points of views, right? So it's like first and foremost, like we should as a community have an expectation that WSOP would follow suit to EPT and Triton.
Yeah, for sure.
And ban,
odd,
right? Okay, so they don't do that. That sucks. That's a failure, right? That's a failure to the community from one of the corporations. But then there are other avenues where like we can do something about this, right? So it sucks that it's being reported now that I know that we're making light of it and it's kind of a joking thing, but like Deeb put out a good tweet that I thought is important to try to nip this in the bud in some way, shape, or form, where we're still drawing attention to it, right? He basically just said like it would be great if all live reporters referred to the Darkside crew as player unknown for the rest of the series. Right? And it's like awesome. That's an opportunity for poker news, and maybe they can't. I don't know. I don't know journalism well enough to know like if that's defamation in some way, shape, or form. I would guess it's not though.
Can't be defamation,
right?
Just call them the cutoff.
Yeah, you don't have to put their name.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like it would be nice if instead of a winner's photo, it was just blank. It would be nice if instead of the headline saying Jake Schindler wins 1.2 million or whatever it was, it just said unknown player wins first bracelet, right? Like these are small ways that when we see a failure at the top, we could try to correct course by the people next in line.
People take it kind of upon themselves.
Yeah. It's like, how far do you go with it? Like, would it be nice if PokerGo didn't televise this event?
No, you want to see it.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Of course. Like everybody else at the final table matters more.
Chewy. I wanted to see, the other
and you
players.
just hope that one of them has the shining moment.
Yeah, of course.
But it would be nice if they didn't double down and, put out press releases with Jake's photo all over it.
That was weird, right?
It felt weird. It felt weird even though they do it with every event.
It felt
weird. It felt so dirty.
Yeah, there was something, like I agree. There was something icky about that. Like it was just like,
it's just like it's celebrating and like relishing. It feels like we're being laughed at.
That's
it's a semi-slap.
That's a good one. Yeah, where it's like it feels dirty because we're like, damn, we can't win this battle. You know, like even you guys are on like their side. Like, what's up?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're on their side. It's just like, you know, this doesn't look good. Kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Massage girl got worse fucking treatment.
Always. Well, not to get back into that, but like, it's very different. She has someone to answer to. She's employed.
Yeah. No,
we're not.
No. Obviously, it was a joke.
No, I understand, but like that is the big
right
delineation between the two. I thought Bonomo put out a good string of tweets where he basically put out a poll that said, in this hypothetical or in this instance, do you expect the massage or the masseuse, the massage therapist to be punished / do you want her to be punished?
Mm-hmm.
And then he put out a second one and said, do you expect Frank to be punished and do you want him to be punished?
Yeah.
And I think it was pretty close to the expectation being punishment for the massage therapist, but the desire not being punishment.
Right.
And I think the narrative was kind of getting twisted that like, oh, that's really fucked up expectations on our part.
That's what I voted.
Yeah, but
I remember that.
Yeah. And it's like, that's what I voted also. And it's like, well, it's not fucked up expectations. She's employed by a company of 500 other employees, and you're not considering how those other women feel that are massage therapists. Like, it's very critical to them for their job to be taken seriously, for us not to normalize certain behaviors that are clearly, across the line. And, we haven't really heard any other massage therapists speaking out, but I'm sure that for the majority of them, it benefits them more for one person to be made an example of than it would be for a lot of, or for this to be being treated with a lax response, right? Because like I kind of mentioned, they already deal with so much where guys are always trying to push boundaries and trying to cross and blur lines, that it's just like, at some point you need to draw a hard line in the sand and say, like, we can't normalize the treatment of massage therapists as effectively loose sex workers, right? Even if that was only an implication, even if that was not what was actually happening, it was a joke. It's like, well, it's a joke done in poor taste because it's at the expense of you and your industry.
What happens, not that I want to touch baseball again, but like there are known cheaters, like the pitchers that everyone kind of knows, like, oh, these guys used the, what you call it?
The sticky shit.
The sticky. They use the sticky icky. But like nothing happens to them either, right? They get huge contracts.
Yeah, and they also get.
I heard one team signed the pitcher for a huge contract and asked them to teach the other pitchers like the sticky icky shit. They're like, oh, teach us what you got. It's just nuts.
Yeah, that's a good parallel to online poker specifically, like the if you can't beat them, join them mentality. Baseball's always done a good job of self-policing. Let me rephrase that. Baseball's always attempted the job of self-policing, but probably has tremendous failures throughout. The steroid era being one obvious black eye.
Right.
And now, we're kind of entering this subtle cheating era. With the Houston Astros stealing signs. Like, this is the thing, man. Like, that stuff kind of falls under the unwritten rules. It was just like, you don't steal signs. That's what gets hitters hit. Right. It's like, oh, you stole signs. Yeah, you're peaking, so like I'm gonna hit you. Right. And that was just like the way it was self-policed. But it's not really unwritten any longer whenever you see the Houston Astros scandal come to be. It's very similar to like what the Patriots were accused of, with Bill Belichick stealing practice footage of his opponents and things like that.
The ball's a little bit light.
A little deflate gate. I mean, like, there's in any game format, there will always be ways to take unscrupulous edges and game the system if you don't agree to playing above board, right? And the idea is to try to create rules that prevent people from gaming the system. And you do a relatively good job, but you can't predict the future. You can't project when technology. Why are you smiling?
Because I know above board has to be on the bingo card. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like above board is it on the bingo card or not?
It's on the bingo card.
It's definitely not on the bingo card.
It should be. They said unscrupulous edges has to be on the bingo card too.
Look, this is the beauty of the whole bingo card idea is that every day somebody tries to add another phrase or word to it. So all you're really saying is that I have so many phrases.
I have so many words.
That are
So many go-to words. He has go-to words. Like, it's great.
I mean, they just fit. I do the majority of the talking. That's the way this fucking works. I'm not offended. I'm not offended. I'm making a game of everybody trying to pinpoint what they're going to add to the bingo card next and how big this bingo card could possibly get. If I can get it to 100 by 100 square, I've done my job.
You can't get that far.
I think we're close.
No, because then words will fall out.
Nobody ever takes anything off the bingo card.
That is true.
There's plenty of phrases I haven't said in months that are staples on the bingo card.
All right, we'll see.
They don't
I'm gonna do a bingo card audit.
Just stop saying bingos.
All right, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, just
Unscrupulous edges.
it's just one of those things where it's like you have to continually update the rule book in order to account for future technology that will allow people to take or game the system in some sort of capacity in their favor. And I think poker and baseball alike will continue to struggle with this because there's this kind of underlying, specifically with online, there's this like underlying anonymous aspect to it, right? Mm-hmm. So like with these pitchers, if they're utilizing a substance that you can't feel to the touch, but it has that effect, then there's really no great way of policing it, right?
Right.
And like once you reach that crux where cheaters have found a way to remain undetected, it becomes very challenging now outside of developing some sort of like elaborate methodology to detect them, to police it. And
that's where we are now.
Yeah, and RTA is kind of the same thing. It's just like, well, in theory, this should be very easy to find, but in practice, it's incredibly difficult and resource intensive. And while that takes place, people are just going to make a whole lot of fucking money. But then on top of that, whenever we do find out, there's no coordination now amongst the community to prevent these people from making money. Like, at least in baseball, everything is managed by the MLB.
Right.
So if a pitcher gets busted, he's fucked. He's out of work. That's it. He doesn't get to play. Yeah, sure, go play in Japan and make 1/10 of what you were making. Right. Whatever, I don't care. But like these guys, it's like, okay, I cheated online for millions. They kicked me off the sites. Whatever, I'll either buy other accounts or I'll just go play live.
True.
And now nobody's stopping him from doing anything. So it's like, I'll just continue to make millions with these skills that I've developed, right? Yeah. And that's just, that's the crux of the problem, I think. That's why Darkside breathes.
Bro, everyone has skills, bro. I saw some wild shit from a video yesterday.
I'll never play a home game again.
I was like, wait, what? I thought, what? But anyway, that was a wild video from Houston yesterday.
I'll never play a home game again. And I've only played home games that like I implicitly trust the game runner, the people in the box, the organizer, everything, right? That being said, I'll still never play. Like,
it's so hard to detect.
It's impossible. Like Houston could see it in a second, obviously, because he's a mechanic.
Trained eye.
Yeah. But like I'm watching him do these things and I don't see it.
Bro, the worst part about it, and we'll show you guys a little bit of this, but he literally says like my hands are cold. And that means like I haven't done this in a long time. Like I'm rusty. That shit looked like he was pretty good, bro.
I couldn't see it at all.
Like his hands he's cold.
He kept bottom dealing.
You look hot to me, bro.
Yeah. He kept bottom dealing and I'm just like, how the fuck did he pull that card from the bottom to out without me seeing it? I'm looking for it. He's telling me he's going to bottom deal here. How'd you do that?
Imagine. And you're like looking for it. So yeah, I want to have that conversation. We'll obviously share the video.
Yeah, for everybody who doesn't know what we're talking about the interview between Joe Ingram and Houston yesterday, who used to be a part of Molly's game, he wrote a book kind of on, I don't know,
Just kind of that whole
like being a mechanic.
sort of. Yeah. Like that whole era.
Yeah, basically how to take dark edges. And now he's the lead producer for Live at the Bike, and basically utilizing those chops to ensure game integrity. Guapo, if you want to cut to the clip that we're talking about, he basically shows like how mechanics can work this out.
So this is going to be a true shuffle. All right, there are going to be 0 cards controlled, because the only way you control the cards is if you can somehow call them before the game, or you do what's called a pickup call or a discard call. When people are throwing their cards away, you kind of keep track of the order, and then they can easily be manipulated, right? But this is truly shuffled, okay? I don't know what this order is.
Oh boy,
now we're going to use a cut card. I watched these guys. I studied this tape for months. Now, you just tell me, we're going to just pick 2 random cards. You just say when.
Stop.
Okay, so here's a random card. Let's do another one.
Stop.
All right, these are truly random. All right, you got ace 3. It could be worse.
Not a bad hand.
All right, so now you got to remember, this guy is he's over here in seat, whatever seat. He's next to the dealer. So I'm watching this go down, because they were just looking at the player. They weren't looking at the dealer. They're like, no, the dealer's not doing anything wrong. So I started watching, and I noticed that there were certain things that did seem to happen every time this guy got in a huge pot. All right, so here's the burn, burn, and here's the flop. All right, now this flop did not hit this guy. I mean, you would need, not that I haven't seen guys, even on Live at the Bike, bet a flop like this, but you would need running cards, right? Like you would need a
backdoor trip draw, backdoor straight draw.
Yeah, like you would need, like a 4. A 4 would help, right? If you're going for a wheel, would that you would admit that would help. Now, if only we could find a deuce.
No.
Now, what you got to hope, what you got to hope here is that someone else, has a huge hand. Like you're hoping some guy has a king at this point. And I watch these guys, and certain things would happen, and these things are happening now, but you don't even really understand what they are. But anyway,
what is happening?
So we burn, and we turn, and there's
what the deuce? What?
Now that just happened in front of your eyes in a truly shuffled deck that I had no knowledge of where any of those cards were beforehand. I was able to make that happen on the fly. And if I just took 2 random cards right now, like there's 9 to 5, they're working.
It's nuts, because this is a person that is not doing that actively, and he still pulled that off. And in the environment that we play in, where you just have a waitress coming with your Coca-Cola or alcohol, and you just have a bunch of music going on, people talking to you, there is 0 shot I'm like staring at the dealer's hands and just like trying to catch something. I'm just trying to have fun and also play the game that we're here to play.
Yeah, when these situations happen, there's always a distraction that comes through, and it's always a time distraction or something along those lines. And
these home games are just like pure distractions anyway.
The whole time is a distraction.
Party favors, girls, booze. Everybody's having a great time. Whatever it would be the easiest. I mean, he was right. Like if you watch the whole interview, he talks about like how this era of poker players are the most naive that he's ever seen, and he's 100% right, because
100%, not even close.
I come from an era where the transition was taking place, right? From the age of Doyle into the like Negreanu grinding era, where it's like they wanted to do things above board, but they knew that things below board were happening all the time, into like our era where everything online was starting to streamline and was mostly on the up and up, right? So we assume live games were, and for the most part, live games were because they were mostly being played in a casino. I mean, the problem is that I have a very strong mindset of be careful at all costs when situations seem too good to be true, right?
Yes.
And I've taken that approach for as long as I possibly could. Up until COVID, I had literally never played a home game once I started playing high stakes. So the up until COVID began, the highest home game that I had ever played in my life was like 5-10. And it was like back in the Pittsburgh days when I was grinding coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Or that time you got hit by the mechanic in New York.
Yeah, but that was small. But that was small though.
Oh yeah, but that for sure happened now.
No, I agree.
For sure.
Yeah, that was
like
that was,
I already was pretty sure it happened, but like I couldn't have fathomed how. Now I get it.
Yeah, of course, easy.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Couldn't be any more clear that like I was set up in that spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so during COVID, I started rounding like a handful of home games that were all pretty good, and they were games that, for all intent and purposes,
Oh, I was there too.
well, one of them, yeah. Yeah, like for the most part, it's like I never really quite understood why I was invited. I guess I just always chalked it up to like,
That's the part you always have to ask. Like,
well, kind of.
Well,
right?
yes, yeah. It's always interesting. Right?
It's weird because it's a group of people that it's like, okay, these are the same people that by and large I would play with in Ivy's room, and I know exactly why I'm invited to that game. Right? It's like they need a facilitator, they need somebody who gives a ton of action, who over VPIPs, that will have money pass through them, right? Whether they're winning or losing, it doesn't matter. What happens is they blow pots up. Yeah. And that's always great for a VIP environment because all VIP players want to gamble. Whether they're tight or loose, they want there to be a lot of gamble in the environment because their strategy will filter into that, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they want to at least feel like they have a shot. And I knew that was always my role when JRB would be running games in Ivy's room and bringing me in. It's like, okay, you may be a pro, but like you don't do pro-y things.
You have a job to do.
Yeah, it's like you don't do the things that would give you the extra 10% edge.
Yeah.
Instead, you're doing things that are like costing you maybe 5 or 10% on the margins.
Right.
But, you know.
We'll live with that because we need to fill this seat.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I'm still doing really well.
Yeah.
Right?
Cool.
But then it's like now these home games crop up. And sure, it's the same group of people, largely, but they don't want a piece. They don't want anything in return. They're just asking you to show up every single day.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
weird,
it's like,
right?
okay, the first one we found out was cheated. Mm-hmm. Somehow we came out winners. But I think largely because it wasn't cheated in this capacity.
And maybe we weren't there long enough.
Yeah, well, also the person that was cheating it, I only played one session with and I got obliterated. I lost like 75K playing 2550.
You got treated.
Certainly. I remember specifically a hand versus him where I got cheated. And there were a couple other hands where it's like, if the dealer was a mechanic, it makes perfect fucking sense.
Right.
Like set over set, blind versus blind with jacks or nines versus jacks. Like the spots where like too much money was going to go in always in a 25-50 game. So yeah, that was confirmed. We were very lucky to escape with a win. Mm-hmm. Actually, I won in all of these games with the exception of one, and the one I didn't win in is the one I'm least likely to believe was cheated. Like the one I'm losing in is the one I think is most likely to be straight.
Wow.
But in any event, having now put in maybe 200 hours into home games, I never lost it on easy cents, right? Like I have a win rate and was winning, but nowhere near what I should have been in any of them. Like, and you know, we've talked about this a lot off air where it's just like, I get that there's variance and like, yeah, we've all seen these runs, but like it feels so amplified when you're in a home game environment. And it's just like, I'm on a bottom 5% run again in a home game.
Yeah. That's
like,
very strange.
Why? Like, why does this continually keep happening? And it's nice to be able to like claw out and ultimately book a win. But basically after watching that, I'm just utterly convinced that I'll never play a home game again. Like there's just no reason to. You can run private games in a casino. The rake is nothing. Like all you lose is the girls and party favors. And like, I get it.
It's a big deal for a lot of people, bro.
I think it's less of a big deal than people believe it to be.
No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
You're saying that from the vantage point of one game. Like,
yes,
I've played 3 games that
I played the game we were talking about before and
Right.
one more.
Okay.
The one more for sure. It has to have
that's the one I know that. That's
Yeah.
the one I know you're talking about, like
Yeah.
specifically. But like the first game we were talking about, that was an option, but it wasn't provided. Like you could do it if you wanted to, but it wasn't a part of the game. Didn't matter one fucking bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the other games that I'm talking about, they both like blow it out. Like there have been games that I've showed up to where there were 3 girls for every guy at the table, and it was an annoyance for most.
I see.
Right? Like for the most part, it was just girls hanging around like 9 guys, 2 of which were interested in the extracurriculars.
Right.
Right? And so like now you have like 6 or 7 VIPs that don't care. They're just literally trying to play cards and get a little drunk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they have 3 girls on them, bothering them to get them drinks, trying to get hundreds out of them over and over. It feels like a tax.
Yeah.
Like even to them, it becomes a little bit much. So it's like you have to know your crowd. Like don't get me wrong, I understand. There are definitely certain lineups where it's a must. But also I've played in those lineups and like it's not what you would think. You would think that like, oh, that would lube it up to the point where like the game is so fucking good.
No, it doesn't really change the game that much.
It changes in the negative a lot of times, in my opinion. What
Yeah.
ultimately ends up happening is the guys that you're trying to play with are always away from the table. They're just almost always away, partaking in extracurriculars, doing party favors, whatever the case may be. They come back for a couple of hands. They cause chaos. They spill drinks. They, all types of shit's happening. And everybody else that's like basically waiting for them to donate is just like getting annoyed and not really playing the game either. And the game's 3-handed sometimes, which all of these dynamics are great whenever you're a pro, but they're not when it's slow.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to play a slow 3-handed game.
No, of course
It's
not.
brutal, right?
Of course not.
So like, I don't know, man. I've played both. And in my experience, the organized private games in casinos are almost always 5x better than the private games I've played in. And to be fair, I'm definitely not getting in the best private games. So
you're also biased a little bit to the point where like the house games are just more of a party. Like
it's not. It's really not.
Some are.
yeah,
Some can be,
Some
sure.
are, but
Okay.
the one the one you're saying, I understand. It's not as party.
I mean, all 3 really. Like
Yeah.
it happens, but yeah, for the most part, like even whenever we did this like getaway to Utah, that was like the idea that it was gonna be like more of a party than a game. And it just wasn't. I mean, like, yeah, there were guys in K-holes on the couch who couldn't fucking stand up, but they weren't having a good time as far as I can tell.
They were having the time of their lives, Burke.
Right, like they were completely incapacitated, but all it did was
Take away from the game.
it took away from the game, and it wasn't even like helpful to like the girls or anybody else that was working there because like they're literally just sitting there drooling on themselves.
I think the difference, this whole thing came about, from Texas, right? This whole conversation we're even having, right? So there's a big difference between Bellagio and Texas, and I think one of the reasons that Houston said yesterday was when the casino employs the dealer, it's way different than when you bring the dealer, right? So in Texas, you could just literally give the dealer, like, you could just hire that dealer that day, give him a fucking shirt, and he's
Right.
dealing the box that same moment,
Yeah,
right? So that's basically you bringing the dealer, right? When we're at Bellagio, these dealers are employed by Bellagio.
Right.
Can they be corrupted? Sure, probably, maybe for enough, but it's a way different environment. And I think that's an important differentiating factor.
Yeah, we were talking about this a lot. I'm glad you brought Texas up because I thought Houston did a really good job of kind of telling the most practical way that game was cheated. And it basically just involves a coordinated team where
Mob, he called.
well, that's just a streaming term basically for they'll call it like a mob game is basically a game that's being worked. So don't confuse it with the organized crime.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he was saying that like it takes a small team where the way those deckmate 2s are set up, if you have knowledge of one single card, as far as like the order of the deck goes, then you can run it through a very quick algorithm and it'll tell you the top 3 ranking hands as they're dealt out. Not like what they are, not aces, kings, queens, or whatever, but like by seat. So seat 1 has the winning hand, seat 2 has the second best hand, seat 3 has the third best hand.
Right.
And then you just act accordingly as far as, setting them up, squeezing them, letting them seat flop, whatever. You basically just like give them the rope necessary to ensure the winners go the way that you want them to go. And the best part about that bracket is it means that you're not involved, like you're cheating smartly.
Right.
You're not winning every single hand. The only thing that's not smart about that, or what is such a low sophistication of that method, is you don't know the actual cards.
Right.
So like what ultimately happens is he'll be like, oh, you have the winning hand, and you look down and you have Jack 3 off.
Right. But you can pass.
You could
If you're sharp.
Right. But like most of these guys are probably employing whales because they want it to seem splash, and also that helps them, right? It's like you don't want to always win with the bad hand. You got to like, oh, okay, you have just like a garbage hand, whatever, and you want to try to get the showdown sometimes with Jack 3 off where you don't win. But basically, it's really easy to give the illusion of action and give the illusion of being a fun player who just wins too much. I told you about the home game with Chauncey Billups in it, where guys were just like sticking it all in with gut shots.
I know.
And then it just rips off.
We were invited.
Yeah. But it's just like that can't be an accident, right? Like I don't know if they had deckmates there. I would guess that they almost 100% did.
They had an earlier way to do this. So we used to play in a Fairview game, Fairview, New Jersey. Basically, it's the same exact thing that you're saying that deckmate 2s could do, but they were using an MP3 player kind of, and it would censor the cards and read it to the headphones or whatever.
Yeah, and that aligns with the other story we were saying
with the speakers.
Yeah. So I think that like this doesn't take much sophistication. I thought Joey kind of overreacted to a couple of things. Houston was saying like Live at the Bike is one of the most secure streams. They go through all of these hoops. I would push back on Houston a little bit. He said that they are the absolute most secure stream in the world, and he would like challenge anybody to bet on that.
It's tough to beat PokerGo, right?
Correct. 100% it's PokerGo. And if for no other reason than because I know for a fact PokerGo had their own software built, their own graphics, like everything.
Maybe he wasn't thinking PokerGo.
He probably wasn't. Yeah. That's why I'm pushing back a little bit just to remind him like there's a professional outlet that does this and does it the most above board way possible because they also have to clear Nevada gaming for every single stream that they run. So there's already a preset rule, or not rule, but like a preset set of rules that anybody operating in Nevada has to abide by. Same thing in New Jersey. I know in New Jersey it's stricter in a weird way where like if you're doing commentary, they lock the door from the time like 15 minutes pre-show until you finish. Yeah. And if you like, so there was a story, I don't remember if it was Katie Stone or somebody else, but they were late to showing up to broadcast and they missed the 15-minute window and like missing a flight. Like they're like, sorry, the flight deck's already been closed. They're like, the door's already been locked. There's nothing we can do.
That's crazy.
You're just out.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a way to do this in an incredibly secure way. And Houston was mentioning like, we sequester the phones, which Hustler Live also does. And he was kind of basically saying like this prevents it. And Joey really went hard into I don't know why anybody has a cell phone at the table. Like he created a lot of FUD around the idea that cheating takes place with a cell phone, and it just doesn't. It's literally the most barbaric way that you could ever cheat.
I think it's because of the possible PTSD sort of.
Yeah, fine. But like, even in that scenario, it's like, the phone wasn't that critical. We're still not positive to the degree at which he did it, but an earpiece is going to be like, not that I want to police this because I think it's again unnecessary, but headphones are a way easier tool to utilize in a cheating mechanism than a phone would be.
Yeah.
Way easier.
For sure.
1,000 times easier. right? So it's just like, yes, phones are powerful, and yes, we have to be mindful of the technology, but I don't want to like create this mass panic around everyday tools. Like, you know, back in 2005 when I was at casinos, you would get wrecked for having a phone in a poker room.
Wow.
Like,
really?
you just were not allowed to ever
Really?
be on your phone. Yeah.
That was
You had to leave the room.
there
You
was
couldn't even step away from the table.
So there's been a change, right? Like, I remember playing Borgata, and there was no way you could pull your phone out mid-hand.
Right.
Like, you couldn't. Like, there was no way you could be on your phone and be in a hand. But like now at Bellagio, like I'm literally like on the phone betting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they don't care. They're just like, yeah, I mean, everyone has a phone. Like, what are we going to do? Tell every single person to put their phone away every single time?
Right.
Like,
right. And I mean, the thing is that like what we have to understand is your phones aren't that private. So, yeah, you can make a very clear argument that, well, if you're allowed to be on the phone mid-hand, which you are in cash games, you could just be running RTA. Right. It's like, sure, you could, but good luck.
yeah.
Right? Somebody's going to spot it. And the second that you get caught RTAing a live game, that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's just it. Like you will be absolutely ostracized
That's
from
bad.
every good scenario. It's like, sure, you'll be able to round the 5-10 and below games, but you'll never, ever, ever have any path to playing bigger.
True.
And that's all anybody playing live cash wants, right? Like if you're trying to cut your teeth at 5-10 by cheating, you're drawing dead anyway.
That's a bad.
Yeah. So it's like in some regards, like live has its way of policing itself because the upper echelon is so protected anyway. It's so hard to penetrate. People with bad reps just aren't really going to have their paths in there. But cheating is almost feels like the new form of trying. And maybe like it just feels over amplified because we've been talking about it a lot lately.
Oh, it's that they're winning so much money.
Yeah. But and it also opens my eyes to like how many people who should be losing so much money in the arena keep showing up. And it's like makes me wonder, well, why? They can't just enjoy it that much. You know? There has to be bad players or sorry, bad intentions from some of those
history
players.
repeats itself, right? Like, I think Amarillo was out there playing clean, man.
No way.
Like there was. I don't think these guys were all that. I think my man Stewie. Those glasses were a little shady, man. Like let's just R.I.P. Mad respect, but those glasses were maybe a little bit shady. So we've seen this story before. Like Doyle said, he used to was cheat or be cheated back then, and it's like these guys annihilated people.
Yeah.
Right. For tons of money, and history repeats itself.
Yeah, I think rather than being like overbearing on preventative measures, like banning phones from all poker tables or banning headphones or things like that, I think we do a much better job of making it a friendly environment for everybody to play in, one that people want to be a part of, and a community that everybody wants to partake in.
Yeah.
If we find ways to just better educate people on how the cheating occurs. Like I thought
that was fair.
I thought a lot about the interview yesterday was perhaps a little bit too much strong arming taking place. But once that kind of subsided a little bit, I thought it was incredibly informative to see just how much Houston could demonstrate in a very short period of time. Ways that like the sharpest pros in the world would never catch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was looking for it. I'm watching the video looking for what he's doing, and I don't see it. He took a perfectly shuffled deck of cards that we showed in that clip.
Yeah.
Completely random shuffle, and managed to turn it into a set deck in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I didn't see a thing.
Right.
Sure, maybe you could like talk about him having a mechanic grip, kind of like in Rounders.
Sure.
When Kanish is talking to Mike about.
But you're never
Worm,
gonna
but
catch it.
It's so impossible, man.
Yeah. Like no one's playing like looking at the dealer's hands all day.
Right. And I thought his point of saying that games are safer with a deckmate than without is also very valid.
How?
Well, because home games are unsafe, period. Right. So whether there's a deckmate or a mechanic dealer in the box, you'll never know the difference. Mm-hmm. And both can just be very easily very easily manipulated by the right people, right? In a casino, the deckmate effectively neutralizes a mechanic dealer, right? Because the ways to manipulate the deckmate require manipulation.
Right.
You actually have to physically manipulate the deckmate. You have to be able to have some sort of like communication back and forth.
So in the casino, the deckmate is safer.
Yeah, well, in home games just aren't safe.
Right.
I don't think it matters.
In the home game, it's not safer because the deckmate tells you the order. Like, you're kind of fucked now.
Well, you're right, but so
You're fucked either way.
Right. I guess the deckmate may be less safe in a home game just because there's a chance you could spot, or there's a chance that the dealer could make a mistake if he's a mechanic.
Right.
Whereas like you'll just never spot those inconsistencies with the deckmate. But yeah, I mean, like,
so let's talk about this. The question that Joey posed was, the elephant in the room is like, okay, well, you know all this stuff. Like, why are you the head, right? What are your thoughts on that? I ended up saying, like, based off the interview, I was like, well, it's kind of like the white hat hacker, where it's like, yeah, he used to do this stuff, but he's also probably he's the best at spotting this stuff too, it seems.
Yes.
Like, if you can't beat him, join him.
No, he's on our side now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, that's what the casino kind of said. Like,
right.
This is a good person.
Well, I think he has other values too, but on top of that, he can just straight up be like, yeah, well, I could spot everything.
Yeah, I guess this is this was my one criticism of maybe the first hour of Joey's interview, was that it felt less of him trying to understand or trying to flesh out the path of redemption beyond all of the crimes that Houston had committed in the past. And I think for a point in time of the interview, that's fine. Like, you really should get to the bottom of his past errors and the cheating that took place. And also there's like stories involved with that, but basically, like, for a lot of or for lack of any other context, Houston's book really did that heavy lifting for you, right? Like, if you read the book, which I haven't, but I'm sure that, like, if you read the book, it's going to tell you a lot of the details that you're searching for. And then you can kind of press him a little harder and say, like, you wrote a book, but I don't know how much of it's true. Like, let's get to the crux of these 5 major points that you talk about in the book. Like, these 5 ways that you cheated, these 5 scenarios, whatever the case may be, right? Like, you press on that. Especially, like, I know Haralabob was someone that was cheating in the game. So it's like, press on those issues. That's fine. I'd love to hear them fleshed out. But it felt more of like just kind of raw emotion where you can kind of see it coming out, where it's like, we're just sick of cheating, period. And you're here and you admitted to cheating. So I'm going to be incredibly critical and kind of not even let you talk, not really even let you have the platform, really, in order to just give you a tongue lashing of how much of this is the problem, how much of it you attributed to it, and why I don't feel safe in any games moving forward. And that was like the big takeaway I took from the first hour and a half, was just like, every time Houston tried to make a point of, well, I can identify a mechanic dealer from a non. I can identify the things that pros should look for in a potentially cheated scenario. When he would speak to that detail, whether it was the shuffle machines or the phones or the way a dealer held the cards or whatever the case, Joey's very quick rebuttal, almost to talk over him, would be like, oh, I mean, like, then we should just be banning phones. We should be banning shuffle machines. We shouldn't be playing in any games that have any of these things, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, fuck, like, this is such an overreaction, and it's going to rile up all of the wrong people in the audience, because it doesn't lead towards solution, right? Instead, it's the opposite. It leads towards people throwing their hands up and saying, like, we've tried everything, nothing can be done. This game is crooked. We're going to move on.
Right.
And I do think that, like, regardless of what Houston's past is, if we assume that he's corrected course and is on the up and up, which, his resume would indicate that he probably is, I don't want to vouch for him. I don't know him that well, right? I've had interactions with him. He seems nice enough, and he seems to know his way around production relatively well. But I'm not saying we shouldn't scrutinize him, and I'm not saying we shouldn't be weary. But I am saying that, like, if he does have this set of skills, which it seems clear he demonstrated that he does,
right,
we should absolutely be taking advantage of that. Maybe he shouldn't be running live at the bike. Fine. Make that case. I don't care. That's a totally separate argument. Do I want this guy working security for me if I'm running the Bellagio poker room? Fuck yes.
Right.
Right? You could say the same thing about the bike. Like,
right.
Maybe he shouldn't be the lead producer of Live at the Bike. Maybe he should just be the head of security. Like,
but he also has production skills.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's one of those where
right.
you get both for one salary.
Yeah, I'm certainly not trying to. I'm certainly not trying to say what Houston should or should not do.
Right, for sure. That's not our place.
I don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the person who executes somebody off of their past, and I'm certainly not going to be the one to vouch for their character now without knowing them. Right.
Fair.
So it's just like, this is kind of a wait and see type of thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, from Joey's perspective, it's like, well, we're assholes if 4 years from now we find out that the Live at the Bike game's been being cheated, and we just have egg on our face because we implicitly trusted somebody who had a history.
We do have some responsibility, though. I was having this conversation yesterday. Like, when I go to commentary, when you go sit and play, we're vouching pretty much. Do you agree with that or no? Because, like, we're still public figures in a way where people are like, well, if Berkey's playing and Chin's in the booth, like, the game's good.
Yeah.
Like, we're vouching. Like, by playing and being a public figure.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. We do have some responsibility. And to your point, when the Postle thing happened, I refused to play a live stream that wasn't PokerGo for the better part of a year.
Yeah.
I got a ton of Live at the Bike invites. This was pre-Hustler. And I just said, like, this was when Ryan was still there. I was like, look, man, I know you and I trust you and I like you, but I don't trust the software. I don't trust the setup. I don't trust the protocols in place. We even had a back and forth where he was like, you know, I'd love to have you come and kind of like vlog your experience behind the scenes and go through the security a little bit. And I'm just like, that's worse. That's so much worse, because, like, now we're tampering, and it's an even bigger breach as far as, like, the things that should be private go. But a lot of good came out of the Postle thing, to my understanding. And again, I don't know the inner workings. I haven't seen the back end.
Yeah.
All I know is that the software they use is still the same software out of Australia, which has its flaws. But to my understanding, at least, a lot of the other secure measures have been beefed up at both Hustler and Live at the Bike.
Yeah, I've seen both back rooms. They seem way different.
You've seen the commentary.
No, I also seen Control, but just as a tour.
Yeah.
And then it's way different than before.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could at least vouch lightly.
Yeah, I mean, if the protocols are everything that Houston spoke to yesterday, where the peak room is separate from the commentator room, that there's a guard outside of the peak room, that the commentators don't get the cards until their 2-hour delay or whatever. If all of that stuff is true, then they are proactively taking the right measures moving forward. And, like, what you're saying about us vouching for it is correct. The problem is that the reality of it is, I'm only saying to my degree of confidence that it's reasonable enough to play. So if I believe I have a 30% edge in the game, then I believe the likelihood that the game is crooked is sub 30, right? And that's basically all I'm saying by sitting, is that I think my win rate is greater than the likelihood of there being a risk of this being a cheated game. But publicly, what you're saying is more true. I have a platform. I have a microphone 5 days a week. I have a public persona. And all of those things come out now black and white to the audience, where it's like, well, you play that game, so it must be safe.
Correct.
And somebody else might not be willing to take on the same risk that I am. Like, if you told Joe Smith off the street that there's a 10% chance that this game is cheated, he might deem that to be way too high and way too risky. Whereas if you told me there's a 10% chance that this game might be cheated, but that you're winning infinite if it's not, that's a small risk to me. And it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and probably play.
Gonna take the seat.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing to strike a balance with when you are both a public persona and still making a living through this game,
Yeah.
right? It's like you have to do what's in your best interest, but you also have to be mindful of what it says to the greater community at large. So I think these conversations are pretty important to have. And for what it's worth, outside of Texas, because I think that it's still way too immature of a market, and I think there's still way too much room for bad behavior to just win out. I want to see these live streams succeed.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Hustler, Live at the Bike, Poker Go, the WPTs getting more heavily involved, I want it's critical actually for me to see these streams blow up, because I have the ability to play them, and at least I think they want me to play them. So as long as I can offer them value and they're giving me value in return, it's very important that this ecosystem flourishes, right? Now, Texas is a different story because, as you mentioned, they answer to no one.
Right.
And that just only amplifies whenever you bring in an RFID table. There's now just more ways to cheat. And there are fewer people creating protocols and managing the security to prevent that cheating from taking place.
And the budgets are also smaller.
Way smaller.
So it's not as if they have like a casino behind them.
Right. Right. Like their games are pure marketing tactics.
Mm-hmm.
And the cheaper you can market, the greater your margins, period. Right. Like if your cost per acquisition is $1 versus $100, you're just going to make way more fucking money doing it the cheap way.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because now the incentives don't align at all. The incentive for the player is to find a soft, straight up game, whereas the incentive for the host is literally to just put this game on as cheaply as possible.
100%.
Which comes at the cost of security.
So did you think, what'd you think about the overall podcast? Like, was it good? Would you?
Yeah, I thought that it was, I thought the most interesting part was when Houston was kind of displaying
right
his craft, if you will. I hate to call it that because it's obviously very seedy.
It's what
it's a skill.
He knows. It's what he knows.
Yeah. I thought that was the most eye-opening portion to me because it really made me understand how little we understand with untrained eyes.
Yeah, we're over here talking about ranges. Like we don't know shit about what's really going down in the dark side. Like,
right.
Like we ran this sim and we're supposed to lead 10%. This guy's like, dude, you're drawing dead. Like look at this turn. Hold that thought. Bang, spade.
What now?
Yeah. I thought that was by far the most beneficial aspect to take out of it. I thought that like the early portion was informative in the sense that like Joey brought a lot of things to light, but I thought it was more of a shouting match and kind of the two of them fighting for airtime. It was a lot of Joey talking over Houston. It was a lot of Houston trying to butt in and correct some pretty strong allegations.
Did it feel like a takedown piece in the beginning?
At the beginning, yeah, for sure. It felt like I know Joey's intentions are always good, so I don't want to accuse him of anything. But
no,
if I were in Houston's chair, that interview would have only been 15 minutes long. Like I would have just opted out. But I think Houston recognizes how important it is for Joey to meet him in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, he did do all these things, and he does have a tarnished name because of it. And Joey is a very important piece of our community.
Right.
As far as being like both a mouthpiece and a well-respected member of it. So I think by the end, they got there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel probably the same as I did pre-interview with regard to playing on the bike.
I feel a little bit safer, I think, because the way he's saying he forces the dealers to do these things.
True.
Does help.
Yeah.
It's like, look, we're the only ones that do these things and we're doing it for a reason.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I would have never thought about a dealer being the spot of the game that was cheating me.
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
I know. I get it. I guess in a casino setting, though, like I'll just always trust the staff, which is maybe a little bit blind and a bit of a character flaw of mine. But yeah, I probably feel about the same. I always felt relatively safe in the game to begin with. I feel roughly the same to begin with. I feel way less good about playing any Texas games and home games. And I just kind of, at this point, I just equate Texas to home games at this point.
It's very similar, right? They employ their own.
Really,
staff.
it's just the party favors that's the difference, right?
Those are so important, though, Berk.
I mean, yeah, at least you're getting a little rebate for your fucking time, you know?
The rebate for that rake, that's not.
Yeah,
You know, that rake is pretty high, bro. The rake's almost like the housewarming.
Well, the rake's a hell of a lot higher when the deck is set against you. Like when you're just the only loser, it's tough.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I hate to do these episodes because, like, I love this game. I love this community. And I don't think that it's all down bad the way we kind of present
We make it sound down bad, right? True. But
that's because the dark side wins so much. Like, when you are dark side, you just have a fixed bottom line.
it's not fixed. It just always goes up.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I should say a base bottom line.
Yeah.
The base is higher than yours.
It is. And that's the problem, is that there are no financial losers in the dark side. There are moral losers and character losers and potentially life losers if they do some time in jail. But monetarily speaking,
it's like Jack Dorsey, bro. He was a hacker. He was a fucking known hacker. Then he just, with all that money, found Twitter, and here we are.
But hacking's not like inherently dark side, or maybe it's
definitely part of Darkside, bro.
Yeah, maybe it's inherently dark side, but it doesn't have to be dark side, is my point.
Yeah. Same here. Houston was Darkside, now he's not.
Yeah, but sure, but in this industry, you can't really be a good person utilizing dark side tactics. Like, all that does is create a new solver product for the industry.
That's what happens.
You know what
and
I
now
mean?
we're all using it.
Like, yeah,
all the Darkside shit, bro. I want to know where Ike Haxton got that dream machine. Who sold it to him?
he might have built it himself. He's a Brown grad with a computer science degree.
Fuck, man.
Like, him and Seaver probably built the first solvers themselves.
Yeah.
It's very reasonable. Like, long before solvers existed, I understand, or at least like from my background in comp sci, I could understand how a tool like that could come to be.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I didn't realize the depth of it.
Yeah, we could have sold Pio, bro.
No. I'm not that sharp. Not even close. But yeah, like simple push fold charts and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that those tools didn't generate sooner than they did. Like, what's Max Silver's app? Snapshove. Yeah, like that was years late as far as like what we should have been capable of sooner. But like the beauty was the money was so free that nobody was worried about that stuff. That wasn't how anybody studied. Nobody was interested in answers. They were just interested in thinking. And that was
a beautiful time.
It really was, man. It really, really was a joy. Those days are dead. Those days are dead and buried in a fucking coffin. They're underneath the dark side now.
Those days are dead. Don't think, just do. And you do what we tell you to do.
That's
and
right.
who tells you to do? The machine.
That's right.
And who built the machine? Dark side. That's it.
That's it. That's the best. There's no better summary than that. That's legit it. That is some dark side shit.
All right. There we go. Everybody have fun. Enjoy. Damn, this
morale is low.
Somber.
I'm glad today's an off day, man. I need a day to decompress.
Holy fuck.
I'm playing tomorrow. We got the fucking monster stack
I'm
tomorrow.
excited for
tomorrow's
the
gonna be a
monster
party,
stack.
man.
I'm
These
excited for
1500s. Oh,
Why, do you like
incredible.
the change to 40 minutes or not?
It's fine. I don't like the long day. I didn't look at the monster structure, but if it's the same as the 6 max, it's fucking insane.
It might be. Go ahead.
So we played 17 levels, I think.
The 17 levels. Yep.
Yeah, we made the money in like level 13 or 14.
Uh-huh. Do you think the day should just end there?
Somewhere around there. Like, here's the thing: the bubble in these big field events and the monster stacks can be way bigger,
Monster
bigger than the
Stack's gonna
6
be
max.
massive.
Way bigger than the 6 max. But I think the monster stack's actually our levels.
I'll check right now.
Anyway, the problem with these structures is that when you make the money day one, which is what they're trying to accomplish, right? They have the added levels to ensure that day one cashes so that they don't have to deal with the melee of the bubble on day two. And that's, I love that. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
The problem is what they're not taking into consideration is how long the fucking bubble takes in these large field events. We played like 8 hands on the bubble, maybe 10, and it was a solid hour. But it only took 20 minutes off the clock. So it's like we played the equivalent of of a level and a half.
Really bad.
That only took a half a level off the clock.
Yes.
So now you're tacking on basically an hour to the end of day, which was already way too fucking long. So it was already predetermined that we were going to play 11 to 12:30, which in my opinion is too long. But if that were just it, fine. Okay, fine. We can play 13 and a half hours.
It's fucking long.
It's a lot. 12 should be the cap, in my opinion. But fine. Okay, you really have to squeeze in that last 90 minutes. Okay, fine. But when the bubble tacks on another fucking hour to that, you have to end it. It has to be a 12:30 hard stop.
Yeah.
Period. So cut those last 2 levels. We went on a fucking break at 12:30 and came back.
That's nuts.
Come on.
That's fucked up.
Come on. Like, we don't need to come back to 2 more levels now.
You think the powers that be are just like chilling in their house, like watching the stream, like while we all play for fucking 13 hours?
There's no way and it's funny because like I tweeted about it when we came back from break. It was like 12:30 and we're about to play 2 more levels, or 12:15 we're about to play 2 more levels. It's like we're literally entering hour 15 of this event.
That's messed up.
What the fuck is going on? And I'm confident, and like I know that
They didn't think about it.
Yeah,
it was an oversight.
It's just an oversight.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that like
but these things could be corrected, right? TD
that's my
has
problem.
TD has the final say, right? It could just be like, hey guys, we're just gonna end. We're gonna end next level.
Yeah, and to be honest, like it would probably be better if I
went through the back channels.
Well, this is the problem, man. I don't know because the front channels are what get shit's done.
That seems that way, right?
Yeah, it would seem that way. But like, yeah, maybe it would just be better if I just suck it up that day and shoot a text to Jack and say like, look, man, this is, and honestly, like I should do that. I should make a better habit of doing that. It's hard when you're fucking falling asleep at the table and you're so frustrated.
You're pissed.
You just want someone to see it now.
Yeah.
Because you're hoping that like something will happen now.
Which will never will.
And well, it has. I don't know if you remember, but Bally's back in whenever I got second, so it must have been 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Bally's or was it
Bally's?
Sure, it wasn't playing Hollywood.
You got it was playing Hollywood.
Yeah, it was playing Hollywood because I remember specifically who the TD was.
Yeah.
The guy running it was just like a terrible poker room manager, and he was doing a bunch of things wrong. One of which was penalizing anybody who touched their phone.
The phone shit.
While on the bubble. Like he misinterpreted so back then the WSOP rule was you couldn't be on your phone while a hand was taking place at the table. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was.
Okay.
And he misinterpreted it and said that if anybody at all on the bubble touches their phone, they get a 1-round penalty.
Wow, that's strong.
And was like trying hard to enforce it. And I remember just like tweeting at Jack, myself and one other person, I believe, I want to say Mercer for some reason, but I don't know who it was. Anyway, a couple of us tweeted at Jack, and he literally called the fucking guy.
Wow.
And was like, no, this is not
how it works.
This is not it. And the guy had to get on the mic in front of like 200 people and announce that he was just blatantly wrong. I
respect that.
Well, he didn't do it in a way.
Oh, I see.
He wasn't trying. He was basically backtracking. And then additionally, when playing down to the final table, when we had 3 tables left, it was like 2:30 in the morning. So we had already been playing for like 14 and a half hours. So there's 27 left. And he goes, the tournament's scheduled to play down to the final table.
Stop.
It's like, bro, you're the TD. You could just say no.
This might be a couple more hours now.
Yeah. So he goes, we're going to do a blind poll. If even one person says we play on because that's what the rules, or that's what the structure says. So obviously,
remember when that little fine print says
yeah, there's an asterisk that says tournament director's discretion.
Yeah.
So obviously some asshole votes no, And we ended
He's
up
on
playing
cocaine. Like,
we ended
he's
up
just,
we ended up playing till 5:30 in the morning before reaching the final table.
God, bro.
And they like nicely enough pushback restart to 1.
Oh, thank you. From 12 to 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like
do we think that there should just be hard caps on these games?
I don't ever want to like tie TD's hands like that because they're building structures that are meant to be both casino friendly and player friendly. So they're really towing a very fine line, right? So I don't want to be too critical of them, and I always want to give them the leeway to say like, you're the expert at this, you should do what you feel is best. But yeah, when they start to take
at 14 hours.
Yeah, when they start to take advantage of us and just assume that we're like
robots,
cows out to slaughter, and are willing to just play any amount of time. Like I tweeted that, and you would be shocked how many people wrote sick flex on or sick brag about cashing, bro. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, you think I give a fuck? I want to go to bed.
Yeah,
so badly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have to turn around and do this all over again in 7 or 8 hours and play another long
part
day.
Too, when the things drag on, housewarming day 1D, and bags at 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, and then 10 a.m. restart.
10 a.m. restart.
Yeah.
How is that normal?
Yeah,
what? It went 10 a.m. to 2:30 a.m.
Right.
So what was that? 14 and a half?
More. 15 and a half.
15 and a half.
Maybe more. Wait, 10 to 10 is 12.
10 to 10 is 12.
12 is 14. 2 is 16 and a half hours.
That's fucking nuts.
It's insane.
16 and a half hours. So I work 2 full-time shifts.
And then 5 hours of sleep.
And then 5 hours of sleep, come right back, do it again on a day 2 when things actually start mattering.
Yeah.
It's like, that's come on.
Yeah, and I guess like this is the problem. Like Jack has personally asked me to reach out to him through back channels, and like I absolutely should be more mindful of that. Like I'm agreeing and apologizing that I do it publicly so often.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why it ends up happening is because it's my knee-jerk response to being so insensitive, right? I understand that oversights occur, but it feels like they're happening due to an insensitivity or a lack of thoughtfulness for the player. Right? Like to just schedule a day that's already prefixed 13 hours or 13 and a half hours, and then add or overlook the fact that there's going to be an hour-long bubble and not correct for it, or not give your TDs the power to correct for it. It just becomes so frustrating to a point where it's like, yeah, I want to just blast it out there for everyone to see, because like this stuff can't keep happening. Yep. And it's year over year over year over year. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like I want to do everything that I possibly can to make it fair for both sides. And I want to champion for the community, but I also want to support WSOP because I think what they do is fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's like when it happens year over year over year, it's like I'm not being paid to make these corrections.
Remember this, Berk. We pushed back from 12 p.m. start to 11 a.m. start for the reason of not being there at 2:30 in the morning.
Correct.
And now we're still there at 2:30 in the morning all the time.
Right.
And now we're
on a 10 a.m. start.
Right.
That one's the most insane.
Right. So it's like, what gives, man? Like, we had the 12 p.m. Everyone was always happy about the 12 p.m. A little bit upset about the late ending, but we were like living with it. Now we have 11 a.m. and 10 a.m. starts with still the late ending. So something's got to budge. I think that's a little unfair for the players. But
yeah,
everyone played the
and also I think it's like an oversight in not understanding fully the structure at hand. Like the argument would be, well, this is a very big field, 1506 max, and we want to ensure that like day 2 isn't and day 3 isn't super cruel. Like we don't want 3 15-hour days, right? Or 3 12-hour days. So like we'll sacrifice day 1, play 15 hours that day, and then you'll get back-to-back 10-hour days. It's like, well, it's a 6 max, man. You're going to be down to the final 18 by like dinner break.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just gonna say, like day 2 blew, like it just flew by.
Yeah.
I made it to level 3 of day 2, and well over half the field was already gone.
Yeah, there's also just a lot more collisions. Like you're playing LP versus LP. Like
right.
People are gonna like rip in 6s on you, where like people are folding under the gun versus under the gun 1 9-handed with 6s.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, whoever's actually creating the, I don't know the flow. I don't know if Jack is both creating and has final say, or if he just has final say, or whatever the case. But whoever's in charge of
Golden Rule's in charge.
The golden ratio. Whoever's in charge of creating these schedules you know, it needs to be, there needs to be a certain level of intimacy with the format that's being played, right? Which is why I would never want to do this, because I don't know all the games well enough. I could never in a million years make you a deuce to 7 structure.
We got Connie though.
Got you.
Connie's playing.
Yeah, he's in there.
All right, so let's go over this. Tomorrow's going to be, this is the 1500 6 max, massively popular. 50K starting stack.
No, tomorrow's 1500.
1500 monster stack.
Monster stack.
What did I say?
6 max.
I wish it was 6.
I know.
It's a 1500 monster, 50K starting stack. Levels are an hour. Late reg is open for 10 levels, and we play a total of 11 levels.
Yeah, this is a really good. This will be fine. This is what the 3K structure was as well. This will be a very well-run event, but they already dedicated extra days to it.
Correct. There's a day 4.
It's total of 5 days. You can play day 1A and 1B, and they did the same thing with the 3K. They just know that the structure is slightly longer. That's great. That's great. Like, they deserve an applause for that. Like, I'm being totally genuine. Like, that's a well thought out structure.
Yeah.
We're not going to run into any hiccups. There aren't going to be that many issues. Like, don't get me wrong, the bubble is going to be very long.
Yeah.
And if we cash on day 1, it's going to be a problem. But don't worry, we're probably not going to cash.
Right.
It's a deep stack event, right? Like, you'll probably
50K hour levels, you're not cashing.
Yeah, you'll probably just cash day 2. Everything's going to be fine. I'm sure I'll complain about the payout structure because in these massive fields like this, you just absolutely should flatten out 15% down to 10. Pay them all the same so we don't have this mass exodus where it matters who's getting what card. Hopefully they do that. I don't know if they'll do that. I've suggested it a million times in the past. If they don't, I'm going to be annoyed whenever I'm sitting there waiting for all the tables to hold up so they can catch up to the fucking payouts. But, like, whatever. It's only frustrating because it can be corrected. It's not frustrating because it happens. I'm patient. I'll happily sit through delays when they're necessary.
Right.
But it's annoying whenever it's completely unnecessary. Nobody cares if they get paid $2,700 or $2,850. Like, no one gives a shit, man. Just pay them all $2,800 and call it a day.
610,000 for.
Yeah, it's a good event.
1,500.
It's a good event.
Strong.
Strong enough to get you out of bed.
I'm gonna play. That's for sure. I'm gonna.
Is anybody late reds in this 3K 6 match? I mean, this 3K?
I've emptied my bullets.
You've done?
You can fire twice. I fired twice.
Chin?
Oh, I actually wanna. No, I'm not gonna play this. But there's one adjustment I wanted to talk about with the Wynn Millions before we leave the topic. Obviously, it'll be brought up when it gets closer. There's only 1 entry per day. No re-entry.
Oh. 10K?
How great. Can't wait.
1 entry per day.
It's a 10K buy-in?
10K buy-in. 10,400.
One entry per day?
1 entry per day.
How many starting days? 10?
I don't know if there's. I think there's 2.
Stop it. They'll never make this fucking guarantee. There can't be 2.
Is it 3? I don't know. It's not that much, bro.
It needs to be 6. Oh, no. Oh, I mean, oh, yay. But I guess.
So, obviously, Wynn Millions was 1 re-entry per day. And there was 2 days, right? Was it 2 or 3? I think it was 2.
No, it was 3.
3?
It's for sure 3.
Okay, so they probably have 3 with 1 entry per day. No re-entry.
Oh, wait. I'm over-exaggerating. They only need 1,500, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not over-exaggerating because 5 diamonds, endless. You can just fire.
Yeah, that's a big difference, though.
Yeah.
Like, when Daniel's, like, literally shoving blind and just re-entering again.
Yeah, but they only have 1 day 1 there.
Yeah, but
it's kind of comparable, I guess. 1,500 is going to be a challenge, man.
1 entry per day is strong.
I assume that they have a really, really, really strong path to satellite.
They must.
Like, I would imagine that you're going to see 10% of the field be satellite winners. Otherwise, there's no way in hell.
That's great, though.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's going to be the best value of the year for sure.
I'm putting away my 30.
Well, not the best value. The main event.
It might be the second best, though.
Maybe. Party Poker Millions comes back this year, I believe.
At Bahamar?
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I actually could be wrong. I think I might be wrong.
They got me, man. They got me. I'm playing tournaments.
Yeah.
God, fuck.
That's what happens, man.
It hurts.
This is our life.
Masato's out there playing 1020 at Bellagio, man.
Yeah.
I could just be on a vlog. Instead, I'm here fucking 10 big blinds.
You can play 1020 at the Bellagio.
No, there's tournaments.
That's right.
Like, I can play 10-20 any time
That's
of the
right.
year.
I want houses.
Yeah, I just want to win the 610,000 monster stag. Pay out whoever you want. Just pay me that one. I don't care the golden whatever. I don't give a fuck about a golden ratio.
Yeah.
The golden ratio only applies for the middle people.
Yeah.
First place is good.
First place is nice. That's right.
All right, we're done, right?
Yeah,
Fuck.
we're done. A little bit longer one today. Thank you guys so much for being attentive and watching. As always, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about the WSOP structures this year, about the fucking Darkside taking over. Let us know if you play in any home games and if you have any mechanics or guys like Houston Curtis out there who
Soto
are just
seems
real
like
nice.
a mechanic.
Nah, Soto seems like a guy who knows a mechanic.
I definitely know a couple mechanics, bro. They're all Albanian. I spoke about this already.
Yeah, you guys have bad reads. You got to know who's doing the work and who's employing the work.
Bro, I thought that was a dangerous day when those guys got caught. It was like all the Dominicans and all the Albanians, and we're like, you motherfuckers were cheating. And the Dominicans were all drug dealers, and I'm like, this is gonna get nasty right now.
Sosa was there?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, this shit's gonna get nasty, bro.
I need to go back. I need to get signed up for corporate America, man. White collar crime is like so much less violent.
I couldn't imagine how that moment went.
Bro, it was crazy, bro. Sosa was there for sure. All right, we're
I
done.
didn't sign up. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We're out.
Peace.